In Canada, most men typically stand when they pee, which also makes cleaning disgusting. Hello you guys, and welcome back to the Life in Germany channel. We've got a little sidekick here today, and she might be with us quite often over the next coming weeks while I am on Elternzeit, and I absolutely cannot wait. Now, you might have noticed that I am in a different space, and it is probably also quite echoey right now. That is because we are not exactly done renovations, but I'm gonna show you anyway. I did a video actually on things that I changed in our renovation project here in our new house that are a little bit more North Americanized, if you know what I mean. And I wanted to do it on this level too, but we're not done yet. But there is something that I wanted to film and something I wanted to talk about that I thought was gonna change for us when we moved into a new house, and it hasn't. And that is these super strange German things that my husband does that I thought maybe was because of the apartment we lived in, or I don't know, like for some other reason. But guys, he's still doing these things today, and I shouldn't have to mention this because I've been making these videos for quite a while now, but for those of you who are just tuning in, this does not necessarily mean that I'm saying that every single German is like this. It's just 9 times out of 10 the Germans that I encounter or that I interact with tend to do very similar things. So in my mind, here are some of these things that you'll only see Germans doing in their homes. Okay, don't ask me why it has taken me this long to realize it, but it always mind-boggled me as to why my husband would fill up the tea kettle only like this much in the morning and then not leave enough water in there for me to make my tea later on in the day. Apparently, I just realized it's not only him that does it, it is a lot of Germans who I have asked in recent days, do you do this too? And they're like, yeah, why would I fill the entire thing up to the top when I'm gonna be reboiling it again later? It just doesn't make sense. So this way you have fresh water and you're not using that much electricity to boil a whole canister of water when you only need a little bit. Actually a lot more sustainable than us in North America. All of you know this is a super stereotypical German trait that is, for me at least, extremely, extremely true. And that is frische Luft. I always enjoyed it in the summer, and now I leave all of our windows and all of our doors just wide open in the summer, in the spring, sometimes in the fall. In the winter, it did take me a few years to get used to because we're pumping the heat and we're like trying to stay warm, and then there's my husband just opening all of the windows and all of the doors, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, especially this year, electricity is so expensive. But he does it for about 5 to 10 minutes every single day, even while the heating is pumping through. Do you guys do this too, or is that just like my husband's thing? I would also say, although this is not necessarily just a German trait for me, because I have experienced this in other countries around Europe as well, furnishings within a house tend to be a lot more cushy and cozy and fluffy in North America. We like to have big fluffy couches with big fluffy pillows and warm cuddly blankets so we can curl up and watch TV on our big massive screen, and I find in Europe it's a lot more dialed down. For the most part, I do like it. I've noticed this a lot in other warmer climates like in Greece or in Spain, where they will actually have tiles on their floors, which is not very common in Canada unless it's in the kitchen or the bathroom, and sofas similar to mine, which are leather. They're not very warm, they're actually quite cold. If you sit in it a while though, you start to get used to it because it actually warms up pretty quickly, and then it's super cozy. It's also super practical with kids. You know how foreigners are always making jokes about how organized Germans are? I'm probably also very much up there with the Germans in terms of organization. This is not my husband's doing, this is definitely my doing. However, I have noticed that a lot of my German friends and family members also do something very similar to me. Take a look at this anal organizing. My binders. Ah! And wait, there's more. I mean, it's kind of like a necessity here in Germany because there is a lot of Papierkram, a lot of paperwork that you have to do. So I would highly recommend to do as the Germans do, organize everything in binders, and that way you're not gonna feel like a chicken with their head cut off when the Finanzamt calls you asking for some very specific information. How do you like them house shoes? Okay, that was another obvious one. That is also very stereotypical German that I still haven't gotten used to. Even in the wintertime, I'm just like, I'll wear warmer socks. I don't need to wear slippers, but everybody I know in Germany does not only wear slippers in their own home, but sometimes they pack them in their purse and bring them to other people's houses too. Or you, as the Gastgeber, will provide your friends and family visiting with their own house shoes or Hausschuhe or slippers, whatever you want to call them. I'm only wearing these ones here because I got them as a gift during my pregnancy, and then I fell in love with the fact that they're so like fuzzy and warm and easy to put on and anti-slip. So when you're walking around with a baby on a hardwood floor, these slippers are the bomb. My level right here, as I said, is not finished renovation yet. So the floors are also not only slippery, but also covered in this really fine construction dust every time another Handwerker comes in to fix something that is supposed to be already done. And you guys have probably noticed I am like a fiend for vacuums and trying to figure out which one works best for my family. I would say most Germans actually don't have like these babies right here. And I have these guys actually to thank for today's video. As I mentioned, I will likely have a sponsor for every video for the next upcoming videos because I have decided to dedicate my full attention to you guys over here on YouTube while I am on my Elternzeit or maternity leave. So I will still be continuing here over on YouTube. And I just wanted to thank you guys again so much for being there, for supporting me, and for listening to me rant sometimes. This station is actually going to suck up the dirt from the vacuum once it's finished vacuuming your entire floor. Start cleaning. A really convenient feature for myself is that you can do everything by app. It's also creepily mapped out my entire space here, and then you can select exactly where you want the vacuum to go or not go based on the different rooms. We gotta give this guy a name. Pull the vacuum out, you can use this little mop filter. There's also reusable ones that you can just unvelcro and re-velcro onto there. And then all you have to do is pick it up, pop it in. Enter mopping mode. The vacuum automatically knows it is now a mop, and then it will go through and it will mop your floor. So if you want to check out this one that I have here, of course, as always, I will link the product down below. You can go check it out. But let me take you to the bathroom now. Bathroom? Let's go. Stereotype or not, guys, most German men actually tend to sit down while they pee. And I'm not gonna lie, this is actually a pretty convenient trait when you decide to marry a German. In Canada, most men typically stand when they pee, which also makes cleaning a lot more disgusting. I've taken a poll on my Facebook before, an awkward poll, to be like, do you stand or you sit when you pee, guys? Typically, it was almost 100% of the German men would say they would sit, and 100% of the Canadian men would say that they stood. Another question I'm always curious about, and you guys might call me weird, is do you fold your toilet paper when you wipe, or do you crumple it? Something else I never really got used to was the size of the towels here in Germany. This was very typical in my mother-in-law's house. It was also very typical in many hotels that I went to. So then I realized, okay, it's not just like my family's thing. It is also very European and, to my mind, also very German. To me, this size is a hand towel, which you would dry your hands on. And this size, which is bigger than my body, is maybe for a German considered a beach towel. Our beach towels in North America are much larger than that. What size towel do you use? Have you ever seen this before? I would not necessarily say it's a German thing for everybody, but it is one of the things that I fell in love with. So what's the convenience of having this box? Does it really even make sense? If you didn't know, Germans really like to have sandwiches for breakfast, sometimes for lunch, and also as Abendbrot for dinner. That means something like this box right here makes it extra practical because you can just pop it on out of the fridge, make your sandwich, plop it back in, and be able to reuse it again when lunch or dinner time rolls around. While we're on the topic of sandwiches, let's make a sandwich. Yes, there is a very traditional German way to do it. First and foremost, this is the bread that my husband gets from the bakery, and he yells at me when I get this bread from the store. It's just a German thing. Get yourself a cutting board. One slice of bread, might I add? Yes, that is only one slice of bread, you guys. You know what I'm getting at here, right? Germans love the open-faced sandwich. They love just spreading on the butter. If you're super German, you might also have some Leberwurst or Teewurst. Otherwise, a little cheese and a little sandwich meat. If you're really strange like my husband, a little bit of mayo. And voila, that'll be just fine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in my household. I'm gonna be super Canadian though, don't judge me. I haven't always gotten used to the open-faced sandwich, and when you have kids and you need to walk around and run at the same time, closing it and creating a Canadian sandwich is probably your best bet. This is fun. I should consider doing like a cooking show. German versus Canadian food. Except in Canada, we have no good food. I'm sorry. The Germans like to have a drawer. Maybe not of Toastbrötchen or wraps, because that's super North American of me. This drawer is typically for your Aufbackbrötchen or your Sonntagsbrötchen or whatever you'd like to call it, that you pop in the oven in case you didn't have time to go to the bakery. Aufbackbrötchen is not a thing in Canada. I mean, we probably do have frozen bread rolls somewhere. And one last thing, guys, that I wanted to mention is the Germans' craziness for security also tends to lead to really, really crazy names and really, really crazy internet passwords. So I'm actually living like a little bit more in a Dorf area, so I don't have many of the options right now, but I used to live in the middle of the city. You would get like 50 internet names coming up, like Bonzo Bananas or Leck mich am Arsch or something super strange on your phone when you're going to connect to your Wi-Fi. So again, guys, these aren't necessarily always German things. It's just things as a Canadian myself that I have experienced over the last 8 years living here in Europe, living here in Germany. If you have any other things to add, please feel free to let me know. Sometimes it takes me like 8 years to realize, oh my God, we don't do that in Canada. I am actually late for my Frauenärztentermin because I am almost finished Wochenbett or Wochenfluss, whatever you want to call it. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank und wie immer, bis später.